So today, the goal is to, as Oscar mentioned, to really give a quick snapshot for personal AI and talking products or service-based AIs that all work and operate based on the information that you provide and the information that you control and own. So in this specific perspective, how they differ from the commonly used AI chat tools that are used is that the information they utilize is provided by you, but in addition to that, they can have also other information that for any generic queries. So first off, to get the first experience of hands-on and to start the journey of understanding these tools, I'm Valto Loikkanen, the co-founder here at Digiole, and I've been working with digital ecosystems and solutions for 25 years or more. And all this information is basically also embedded into my own personal AI twin. So for any questions you may have about me or about our products or services or any other curiosity you may have, or if you want to book a time with me, all that information you can ask from my personal AI twin. And based on the dialogues, I can also see anonymously who is not who, but what types of information people are wanting to have available, and then I can continue on just ongoing basis, continue to add that information in there, and that way it continues to be more and more helpful in making my knowledge available to the world for free. Of course, I could also make it a paid service, but my personal AI twin is mine, and I want to make it available in this way. So you can scan the QR code with any phone, any smartphone, no applications needed to install. And basically after that, you will have this type of interface where it's just my profile and quick introduction, and then some example questions that you could ask. These example questions are automatically generated by my AI twin based on the knowledge that I have added. So, and it keeps rotating those with different things as a quick snapshot to show what type of things you could be asking. From there forward, it goes into a typical chat conversation where you can have a dialogue, ask questions, or dive into any of the topics that I have made available as my knowledge. So it works on any browser, on any smartphone, directly using the camera built in and just scanning the QR code. You can also use it in bigger browsers. This is actually the old interface visible here. But the idea is that you can also have customized interfaces at different ways of representing yourself or your products or your services. But everything comes with this basic interface available for everyone with the product as it is. And then there are customization options to enhance those or brand them further. Here's also my personal disclaimer. So I can have, if I have something, how I want to inform people before they start interacting with my AI twin, I can customize what this information here is. And if needed, also add a separate link to further details in that as well. On the owner's side, how this personal AI twin looks like, it's very simple. Easy to understand and navigate interface. So basically you have your twin's profile, where you can add that information that is visible for when the AI twin loads for visitors. You can have your picture and some basic content. You can also get the QR code that you can embed to presentations or website or LinkedIn profile or physical brochures or products or whatever that may be. And here's an example of, for example, in a networking event, you can have your QR code available like in your smartwatch or just on your phone screen or however, for convenience of making that available. There are also all kinds of different products by others, smart bracelets and other things that you can simply embed that link into your business card or so forth. So this is mainly to indicate and showcase how you can take your personal AI twin with you in different types of settings where you usually make yourself available. Then you can also make you and your communication and your knowledge interactively available to broader audiences in those times when you are not around. And to establish the knowledge, it's very simple to just add content in form of simple text files. You can add documents, and you can separately create information documents or use existing documents about, I don't know, your thesis that you have written or books or articles or whatnot, in a way to continue building the knowledge. And everything, how the knowledge is organized, happens automatically from here forward. And then when people interact with your AI twin, or in this case with my AI twin, I can also see the interactions anonymously, unless those interacting wants to identify themselves by introducing themselves. And I can see the conversations that are happening and in real time. And basically, I also get an email report on daily basis about those interactions that are happening. So in general, if we talk a little bit about the technology here, how these systems that we make available are different from the typical like ChatGPT or Grok or Claude or these these tools, is that these are the actual AI or the LLM models are separated with the knowledge that they are using. So each of these AI that you can own is structured in such way that the ownership comes through from the information that you own and control and only make available to your own personal AI or service-based AI. So everything is built around your own knowledge base, where you can have information that makes it such that it represents you or your company or product or service or whatnot. In addition to information that it's using for communication, then you have the AI personality that in my case is my own identity that I'm using for personal AI twin. But in case of product, it can be whatever the product brand is, and the personality, the behavior, and the look and feel and things, how it communicates can be adjusted to fit that brand or person in question. And then the third key piece is the insights, to actually see the interactions. Oftentimes when we use the AI tools and chatbots and so forth, we mainly think of that aspect of what it can do for me or how can it serve me, but we often lose sight or don't really think about the richness of the information that actually can be learned based on the interactions that are happening, specifically in the business and working settings. So that really gives us insights into in regular normal language to read about different things that is much more powerful than surveys or questionnaires, periodical kind of. The way this AI model works with your own knowledge, the difference for these large language models at basic level is that things like ChatGPT and so forth are trained with vast amounts of information in a way like a human would when they read and memorize a book to kind of be able to answer based on what they remember from the book that they have written. In this knowledge-based approach, it's like it has all the books that it has read available to reference and look up information from those books in fractions of seconds. So it's not relying on memory, but it's using the actual knowledge that has been made available for it. Or then, of course, that information can also be removed or updated, which is not possible for the actual LLM models. They are always basically retrained with the whole new thing, but you can't really untrain them from information that they have learned in general. So no such thing as unlearning per se. So at the foundation, knowledge-based models are basically having this type of core knowledge, that is the information that you add for the AIs, and then whenever you start adding that becomes the primary information it's using. Without that information, it's basically, think of it like a person that is coming through a basic schooling without having it specialized to any subject matter, if you will. So this core knowledge that you keep adding for your own AI becomes the primary information source. And the more you keep adding, the more it becomes based on you and your information. In case when, for example, there would be a question for a specific thing that you have not added the knowledge per se, your own AI will still have the personality that it acts based on, how it communicates, and it has like a summary layer of all the core knowledge that you have added. So it has a very big contextual understanding of your world and your information and knowledge to be able to answer in a very personalized manner, and even if it doesn't have the specific to answer, because it's basically answering then based on the summary of all of your information, even if it doesn't have the specific. And then if it goes all the way outside of the whole context of what your information is about as a whole, then it can always fall back to also use kind of the general information. Think of it that like the basic schooling information as such. And there's different ways then also to control basically this, how much it can move between these levels of knowledge, that it should stick more strictly or not as strictly, and be more helpful on other topics as well. So that's a brief for about the products, and really like concrete examples, hands-on, what you can try already with my own AI twin. So then let's look at this in context of the broader market, and establish a little bit of additional market development, where we are and how these things basically developing and evolving. So here we can start from the point of the, let's say, the ChatGPT moment, if you will. And initially we have kind of experienced, and in most cases, most who are still getting into this kind of new AI world are experiencing these like applications in traditional sense. But what is starting to emerge more and more, specifically this year, is this AI assistants and AI agents, and that basically is a way to think that your AI is acting on your behalf by itself, not without controls, but think of it like having a assistant or an employee where you say that, okay, we need to get this done, can you go and do it? And then it goes on the background and starts working through those things, and then comes back with the results. So the difference there is that it's not only sitting and waiting your very granular instructions. So if we think in the context of using AI in this way, it's kind of like you are there with maybe a senior person and a junior person, and the person is constantly like a mother and child. The mother is constantly telling you do this, and then it does, and then giving further instructions. But here, the next level is that it takes more agency and can operate by itself for longer periods of time. And then when we go further in this development, basically the entire internet and the digital space will continue to develop into that type of scenario where these AI agents are basically communicating with each other, and you can have multiple AI agents on your side, and maybe you have one primary one that is orchestrating, so basically delegating tasks to smaller agents to different types of scenarios to get the overall objective cleared faster or better. So this is think of this as a timeline-based evolution that has initiated from this application-like experience to agentic or AI agents, and then towards the agentic AI networks. And then this is happening basically on both sides, on consumer side or individual side, where we are interacting with multiple companies, services, other people, and so forth. And then on the service side, where we are making AI agents available for customers to interact with, and so forth. So this evolution is happening on both sides, and that basically leads us to having these AI agents which have different agendas, and they have different owners with different agendas and different agency. So think of it through the lens of whose interest are they serving. So the most logical thing to think that if you have your own AI, its primary function should be to serve you and your best interest. And if it's the company, their basically primary agenda is to serve the company and its owners to best of its ability. So when we think about this, how this world is developing now very rapidly and how we are moving forward in this world, basically this is an inevitable development, and these AI agents will be, and personal AI and company side AI and so forth, they will become as common as your email or phone number is today. So we can all either remember or imagine, depending on your age, how the world was when there was no personal phone number. Maybe we had a landline at home it was a collective phone number for the family or for the company, and now we all have personal phone numbers. Same with email. There's a time when email didn't exist, and now if we would think that these things would be taken away or that they wouldn't exist in this world, the digital world would be impossible to operate. So same will be with these agents, that everyone will have their own personal one, and it is to be as common as these, and we don't really think about them much in the future. So in that kind of timeline and inevitability, it is only question when you start your own path, how do you start? And that will obviously have advantages or disadvantages for you. The sooner or later you will start your own journey with such inevitable development. So just a simple visualization. These things started very much from the 90s, early 90s, mid 90s, depending on kind of industry and geographic location and so forth. And now we are here 35 years later or 30 years later, and this new layer is starting to develop that is full of opportunities and challenges. Entire companies will disappear, entirely new companies will emerge. Many companies will try to adapt. People have no other option than to adapt. So in individual level, this is something that we all have to cope with going forward. The reason of the inevitability is that these things are more powerful and they cost less than the clumsy applications of the modern day that we are using. So let's have a bit more look into that ecosystem of these agents and how these work together. So on the individual side, on the personal side, we have our own AI agent, the one that we own, the one that we control by owning and controlling all information that it's using. And then basically the purpose of this personal AI should be that it's only looking at your best interest. That's the case in the AIs that we are providing, but that's necessarily not the case in all AIs in the world. If you are getting your AI for free, then you have to understand that the agenda for why you are getting that for free is not your best interest. So in the agentic level, then you can have temporarily or more permanently more agents on your side than just single one, or you can use service-side agents from your side, and you can imagine that these agents that you want to use, additional agents will be many. Similarly, like you have many applications on your phone for different purposes, and also those will change over time. So when you are, for example, in a university, as a younger person, you have quite different set of agents that you would be using than, for example, when you become a parent and then in work life in different scenarios. The function of the AI twin is that in the setup that you have multiple agents that you are using to avoid all the issues and problems that exist in the current application world, where we have all of our information and data scattered in different applications, and it's very annoying when we try to use and one application doesn't have information that the other application has, and we keep copy pasting the information from app to app. In the case of AI agents, it makes sense that there's one AI on your side looking at the best interest of you that also have rich information, and then it only shares that information on need to know basis with other agents depending on the objective that or task or communication that is happening. So think of that as your primary agent, and of course you should also be able to change your primary agent from a different provider as needed, and that is possible when the information and knowledge that your agent is using is separate from the actual AI models themselves. On the service side, it is the same scenario, but in this typically it is that it's not serving just one individual. It is serving multiple. It is serving the entity, the organization, and the entities or organization's best interest. That obviously caters mostly for the owners of the company, shareholders, and so forth at the end of the day. Of course, to be able to get good results, it needs to be providing good customer service and have a business model to operate, and so forth. Also, on the business side, the key is that there can also be many AI agents there. There can be AI agents for the company, for the services, for partners, for customers. Each employee can have their own personal AI twin with their work role attached, and so forth. So that just basically gives an idea of the service side. When we combine these two, we are entering into the world where we don't need to imagine like you want to change your broadband provider. Like, how enjoyable is that conversation to start calling up those different things, talk to salespeople, and spend time on either side, whether it's you wanting to make the change or whether it's the company trying to get to you to change the plan or something like that. So something. Or changing your insurance company. Like, I don't think anyone would actually enjoy that dialogue, or tax office, or whatever that may be. So in this case, we can work an individual side on the objectives that we want to achieve, and then we can have the AI agents to have the conversations between themselves. So we can easily have our agent to communicate to multiple agents at the same time and just simply bring back the conclusions for our approval and so forth. And equally on the business side, we can have our service side agent to communicate to multiple customers more effectively than humans ever could, with extensively more accuracy and understanding of the vast information that is flowing. And then this is how the whole digital landscape will change. The whole internet will change into these agentic based communications and networks, instead of from current application centric world, where we can think that any app you have on your phone or any online application or service that you are using is basically dumb, in that sense that it does nothing automatically. These large language models have enabled that capability of agency for the applications, basically. So these applications can now be interactive beings, interacting with humans, but also interacting with its others as well. And one thing to really that makes a big difference is that this can talk any language. My AI twin can talk any language that the visitor who comes there, it would be talking by default. It adapts to the language that the person is having default on their browser. So if a person with Spanish in their browser opens my AI twin, everything is in Spanish and they can have a conversation in Spanish. If I open it with my other browser that is in Finnish, it has everything in Finnish, and on my other browser, everything is in English. So it can talk any language, but not only human language, it can also talk on any computer language. So any communication language by computers, maybe remembering those, how fax machines and modems used to communicate with that beeping sound, to any API language that is the language of the applications communicating with each other, and so forth. And it all is doing that out of the box. So it's not that it needs to do any settings or management or laboristing. It just all automatically works in all languages. And that also is a big thing when we think how the online world will develop. While we think that internet is global, and it is, of course, but it's still very much siloed and divided by different languages. I don't that often browse Japanese internet or Spanish internet or so forth as a manual human, because I don't understand that. And the translation tools built on the old applications are very clumsy. But my AI twin has no problem with different languages. And when we go more further into the agentic world, those agents will as easily source products or services from any country in any language, and then bring the results back to you in your own language. So this will change the online competitive landscape significantly, because we all know that different products and services cost very different amounts in different parts of the world, simply because of the living costs and so forth. But we are not casually using those because we don't. There's no convenience on trying to buy something from Poland or from Lithuania in their local store, compared to buying something in another local store. So next, let's look at the lens of value of the information. So these large language models, like the AIs that we are using as an interface, basically those are not anything else except vast amounts of information converted into numerical representation. And then when we query those things, our query goes into numerical representation. And basically then we are matching those things at system level to retrieve the relevant information, if you will. That's the simplification. But without information, it's impossible to create these large language models. So if we would remove the information from them, or we would stop making information available to them, those will collapse, basically. So think of it like a whale in the ocean, surrounded by water. It's doing okay there, living there. But even if you take it to the land, even if it knows how to breathe, it will collapse, simply because it cannot live without the information, the water around. And in AI's case, it can't live without the information. So why is that important? So if you remove the information, everything else becomes irrelevant. AI can't operate without information and data. It wouldn't exist without it. And then you have to think, where does all of that information actually come from? It comes created by people around the world, organizations, companies, so forth. But ultimately, all the information that these AIs know has been typed with the keystrokes of some human somewhere, to kind of super simplify that. So it's very, very valuable. And now there's a lot of law cases happening, how those information have been collected, how they have been used, have they paid to use that information, and so forth. But the main point there is that your information is valuable. Regardless of how those have come together, mostly the acceptable source, of course, is Wikipedia, for example, that has been used to train, and a lot of the open source models have been trained with different models have been trained with different information, but as much as they have got their hands on. And with these open source models that are coming available now, even from OpenAI, anyone can have their own copy of the world's information that has been used to train these models and download it for themselves. For example, these biggest models that OpenAI has released, these LLM models, they can fit to a USB stick. So if you think that everything that ChatGPT that you use knows without doing searches or other things for newest information, basically fits into a USB stick that anyone can create for themselves for free, put it in their laptop and use it that way. So that also means that there is no competitive advantage in anything else than your own information. The information that is not being used to train into those models, the information and knowledge that is new, for example, as a journalist, when you create news, or if in the knowledge topic you write your own perspectives, those models don't know them. So that's your own valuable information. In context of companies, it's all your product information, your customer dialogues, your internal strategies, plans. All of those are extremely valuable in this world that we are heading, because all the other technologies, all the public knowledge is becoming commoditized to the cost of zero. So the value in this world where we're heading is in your information, and then in capabilities that what these agents can do, and the willingness to pay for having those agents do those, or willingness to pay for the knowledge that is not available for free. So to own your own AI, the only way to do that is to own the information that makes it different from the other ones. That's the starting point. And then going forward, it will also include AI agents that have different capabilities than other AI agents don't have. And that usually is also enabled by having some information and knowledge and capabilities that others don't have, even if at like functional level they could do the same thing, but they just don't know how well they could do that, because they don't have that strategic knowledge of performing a task in such way that requires knowledge that was not available for them. And as the world typically works, is that anyone who doesn't take control or doesn't care about these topics, there's other people who are happy to own the AIs that are being used by those people and organizations regardless. And this is how we have kind of in the application world already come to this dominance of 5 giant companies in the world and 7 people in the world owning all the applications that run the internet. So there's always someone happy to do the heavy lifting, always someone happy to take the agency away from individuals and organizations, and basically make business out of that if companies or people don't want to do the effort themselves. So as we move forward here, the question is really going forward. We are now, when the agentic world is starting and this whole AI world is starting, it's still early days, even though we are, let's say, with the new AI ChatGPT moment, we are already close to 3 years in. The point is that we are still early, and everyone has to make a choice whether they continue to operate in the way that in the modern online applications world work, or take more ownership and control and operate in the world the way it was before this online world for the past 15 years have distorted the vision of whose best interest is in question with these tools. So in this case, we now have then 2 ways and lens to look. One side is the personal use, and that's like with the use of personal AI twin. And then the other is the business use. So think of all the companies outside of those giant 5 companies, global companies that pretty much run the whole internet infrastructure. So let's say 95 to 99% of companies that are not them. Basically, then it's a question of how do we operate our own AIs and continue to be the masters of our own identity, or masters of our organization and our business. We have tried to make this journey to start this path as low entry level as possible. So we are providing these free trials for building your own AI twin or your talking product, and you can get started we will share you the links after the webinar, so you can get started and start testing yourself using those types of interfaces that I showed in the beginning, and get started. And then, based on your own thoughts and hands-on experience, we are of course happy to support your path in different ways, and go further from there. But basically, this is you can set it up, you can make it into an existence and personalize it and start your own path at your own pace. And then if you find it valuable, then of course, after free trial, considering it's your own AI, then we provide that as a service on a subscription models or other arrangements where we support you on that. On talking products, if we look at then the practical use case and application, typically with physical products, the labels are too small. You can't fit much information into them, and you would not try to find a brochure, or wouldn't necessarily enjoy going online to try to read the website and so forth of these products. And basically, there's more need for information that any of these small package and label can provide. On the business side, then it's very hard to get customer insights and customer understanding about what actually those consumers of our products and services are actually thinking, or what would they actually be asking, or what type of value add we could add for our product. If we think that pasta can, there could be all kinds of different recipes and other ways how that sauce can be used, and that type of information could be added to the talking product AI. The more the complex the products are, or more information rich or kind of associated information there is, the more value can be made available in these types of physical products. It can build a ongoing dialogue between you, your customer, and the product that they are using in different scenarios of their lives. All the customer understanding is coming as raw dialogues between the interactions from the customers and the product, answering those or having the conversations. And then this information can be further processed in many different ways for sentiment analysis or languages or so forth and so forth. When we think talking products or talking venues in these types of physical settings, there are many scenarios where a lot of information value is hidden. It's not available, or it's not easy to even make available. And in this scenario, for example, in an art gallery, there's a lot about the painting, the history of it, the artist behind it, other art they have made, history of the artist and their work, and the whole exhibition, and so forth and so forth. We have one example customer case here. This is Alfabia Garden in Spain, and here's an real world implementation example. There's a simple brochure that visitors can see to understand about the venue, of course, itself, and having instructions of how to basically interact with different art and other spots in the route. Here's how it's been implemented physically in a physical setting. Each of these kind of spots in the path of the garden has a dedicated talking product to communicate and provide information available. And this way, it can enrich the experience of the visitors. And in this type of setting, also, it's very very difficult to make a lot of information available for the visitors. There's a high volume of visitors in this very popular place, and a lot of dialogues are happening and a lot of new learnings from those visitors through this implementation. In the physical products, we can have those in any kind of product. You could make that available in daily consumables, in cars, in washing machines, and so forth. And again, the interaction is very simple to add your information available to the customers. One key aspect is to also understand that it goes way beyond the things that are currently focused, like marketing and until the customer buys the product. But if you think a product like, for example, a washing machine in the home and the life of people for 5 or 10 years, there's a big untapped opportunity for bringing value for the lifetime of the product for the customers of the product. On the personal AI twins, this is a long journey that we have. So our journey as individuals start before we are born. And depending on what we do during our life, there is a legacy that we leave behind for our close ones or beyond. And if you think artists like Elvis or something similar, that legacy can continue for quite some time. In this scenario, it's all of our personal information from all aspects of our life, from our entire lifetime, that is relevant, that our personal AI can help us remember better, use our information better to help us operate and navigate the world better. In the current application-centric world, pretty much we have entered this world where these big giants have much more data, but it's not only them, companies in general, and the value that we get from our own information is very small. The goal that we have from our approach to empower the markets and individuals and companies is that the information kept by others is minimized, and your information that you value that you get from your information is maximized. And that means also that you control how your information can be used, by whom. And if you want to have that available for LLM training, then that you can make it available on your terms. That may include, for example, that some compensation have to happen from that and not just taken from you. In your AI twin, you have two sides, basically you interacting privately with your own AI twin, and then your AI twin acting as a representative and other people interacting with your AI twins. At the current phase of the product, we have enabled the focus mainly on how the AI twin can be helpful for others. And that's basically so that you don't need to start your journey from worrying about the most sensitive information, but start from information that you want to make available to other people and you are currently sharing, for example, in social medias or blog posts or otherwise. There's many different use cases how this can happen for different people in different phases of their life and activities that are relevant for them at the time of that part of life. And everything that is designed is purposely designed towards the future, where the regulation is also heading, and that is aiming to bring more control and more liability towards using personal data. And most importantly, we want to cater for the ownership of that data and information and anonymity when it comes to dialogues. These are the defaults to start with. Here are some examples of other AI twins on the wild. Here is one diplomat who has written a biography, and made the whole biography information available through his own AI twin. So as a reader of that biography, you can go dive deeper into dialogues with the person in question. Here's another book example presented with book content inside an AI twin in an AI product version. Here's a lawyer case making legal advice available through AI twin, and most importantly, for simpler and initial assessment starting points, it's always the real human on the other side. So then there's a natural handoff for the person, the actual lawyer, for concluding anything that is happening. Here's a example used in traditional media for the journalist and the guest, both having AI twins to take part in the conversation. Here's an example of a plumber making themselves available. Here's an example in education by university professors, and that was the presentation. So wanted to make sure we can get this through on time. Thank you. Bye bye.